KOAM News Now. Caitlin O'Shaughnessy, weekday mornings on KOAM News Now.
Right now at 5, the Salvation Army in Jasper and Newton counties are making preparations to serve Thanksgiving dinner to Joplin residents.
And we've got ourselves a chilly start to Thanksgiving, but it is looking to be a fantastic day for us. We'll talk about that Thanksgiving forecast to get you out the door coming up.
Plus, Hal will hear about how the Chiefs have named their very own One Fan of the Year.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning, 4 states, and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 5 a.m. I'm Amber Jenkins.
And I'm Chris Warner, so happy Thanksgiving.
I am ready to eat.
So am I. Here's the thing, those folks at home know I'm ready to eat really any time of day, but Thanksgiving gives me a reason to eat even more. Something else, because people saw this yesterday. I wanted to show it again. This is like the world's largest universal remote. There's 30 some odd buttons on it, and they're all programmable for different things. And it's how we turn on different TVs around here, believe it or not. Like each TV has its own little button on here. But it blew my mind when I first started here how large that is, and the fact that it's simply a universal remote. It's just gigantic.
It's older than me.
I think it is. I think it's probably older than both of us at this point, but it is a pretty cool remote. Thankfully, these days remotes have only gotten smaller. Like if you've got Roku TV or anything like that, I mean, that remote's big as this thing, and it has about that many buttons on there. All right, outside right now, our camera on the Cornell Complex, downtown Joplin. We've got that breeze. It's not too bad, but we do have a breeze out there. We got otherwise clear skies, looking great from the MoDOT camera at 20th and Range Line in Joplin as well. Temperatures, however, a bit chilly out there for sure. 34 in Joplin, 34 in Pittsburgh. However, the good news is for your morning drive, if you're going to see family, or for whatever reason, maybe you're a last-minute traveler, roads are dry. All right, that's great news if you're heading out. For the rest of today, though, they will remain that way. Clouds still expected to increase later this afternoon into the evening, but ahead of that, we've got mostly sunny skies, temperatures right around normal as we go into the upper 50s, maybe even a couple of lower 60s out there across the area. We are going to take a complete look at your forecast because we're still watching this weekend system. And of course, there's Black Friday shopping tomorrow as well. All of that will be discussed here in just a few more minutes. Amber?
Thanks, Chris. The Salvation Army of Jasper and Newton counties are getting ready for its Thanksgiving dinner today. Folks will be able to swing by the Salvation Army at 320 East 8th Street in Joplin from noon to 1 to get a free Thanksgiving meal. Officials say they usually serve between 400 and 600 people on Thanksgiving Day.
It is a lot of looking at numbers, looking at how much we would need per person, so how many stuffing boxes, how many green bean cans, how many mushroom soup cans, just kind of getting it prepped. They have a local college group that comes in and actually debones all of the turkeys and gets it ready for us, so we have that blessing.
If you want to help make sure everyone has food on this holiday season, consider donating your food to our Feed the 4 States campaign on our website, KOAMnewsnow.com. Thanksgiving is today, and that means Black Friday shopping will begin shortly. Cherokee County Sheriff David Groves wants to remind shoppers that retail holiday still comes with some potential scams. Don't show large amounts of cash when paying for items, and don't leave items in your vehicle. Put them in your trunk instead. Have a reliable location for package drop-offs and monitor all credit card activity. We'll have some more additional tips on our website, KOAMnewsnow.com. A judge sentenced a Goodman, Missouri man to life in prison for child sex crimes. Authorities say David Hood sexually assaulted 3 underage family members. A jury found him guilty of statutory rape, first-degree sodomy, and 3 counts of incest. He receives 3 life sentences for the crimes. The head of Carl Junction Chamber of Commerce is stepping down. The chamber today said farewell to its Executive Director Kavanaugh Studevin with a small public event. Studevin says leaving will be hard, but she won't be far away.
It's bittersweet, and I'm definitely going to miss it, but I'm still excited that I'm still going to be around in the community and still being able to serve the residents of Carl Junction just in a different capacity.
Sturtevant continues to serve her community with economic security cooperation in Joplin as community organizer. Police are investigating after a person was killed in a shooting outside of Bartelsville, Oklahoma, Tuesday. According to the Osage County Sheriff's Office, a tribal officer was responding to a possible theft at the New Osage Casino and Hotel. Police say a person was allegedly trying to leave with stolen property. The person then tried to drive away as the officer was trying to get into the car. Police say that's when a citizen shot the driver, who died from their injuries. Authorities say neither the suspected shooter nor the driver are tribal members. That's a lot of people who would argue that they are the biggest Kansas City's fans. But reporter Jackson Overstreet brings us the story of a man the Chiefs had named the Fan of the Year.
And so this is what I envisioned standing right there at the top of the steps. This is what I saw right then.
Kelly Kennedy is a Chiefs fan, but that may be an understatement. Kelly Kennedy may be one of the biggest Chiefs fans, ever since he saw the team play for the first time when he was a kid.
Chiefs ended up winning 21-20, and from that time on, I was hooked.
Kennedy has been a season ticket holder since 1995. And you can see by his basement in his house in Hayesville, he's collected a lot of team history.
Autographed by Tony Gonzalez.
By now, you can probably guess Kennedy is not any normal Chiefs fan. He's the Chiefs' 2023 nominee for NFL Fan of the Year. He was surprised with the nomination before the Chiefs' opening game back in September, getting the news directly from NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell.
He handed me the jersey, and I was just dumbfounded. I didn't know what to say. I was holding up the jersey.
But Kennedy is more than just a Chiefs fan. Part of his nomination comes from his work as both the swim coach at Campus High School and the fundraising they do with the Swim to a Wish event every year.
We're getting ready to do year number 12, and we've raised a little over $250,000 for Make-A-Wish.
Kelly started fundraising to pay back Make-A-Wish because 20 years ago the organization sent him, his wife, and his 4-year-old daughter to Disney World.
You know, I've had some of them from Make-A-Wish say, "Kelly, you've paid us back," but I don't see it that way. That it's just, I don't know that I could ever pay you back for that.
If you ask Kennedy, he still doesn't quite believe that he's Fan of the Year, but he plans to make Chiefs Kingdom proud.
I'm doing the best that I can to put a positive light on them, and in my little part of the world that I can do that on.
Kennedy does in fact make the Chiefs Kingdom proud. That's a look at today's top stories and weather in your first 7 minutes, coming up in the KOAM Morning News. College basketball is well underway. We'll see how the Pitt State and Missouri Southern teams are veering off at the start of the season. Plus, Iceland is bracing themselves for a possible volcanic eruption. We'll see how Iceland pilots are making preparations. And you're watching the KOAM Morning News. We'll be right back.
Casino's hot seat cash giveaways are paying cash every single day. Join us Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday from 6 to 9 p.m., Friday and Saturday from 6 to 10 p.m., and Sundays from 1 to 5.
So quick, so efficient. I would absolutely recommend Show Me Windows and Doors for anyone looking to do any type of remodeling.
Well, for the first time all season, Pittsburgh State football enters a game where it isn't the overwhelming favorite. On Saturday, the Gorillas will face Grand Valley State on the road in Allendale, Michigan. PSU head coach Brian Wright says the Lakers are the best team the Gorillas have seen this year.
This is the most balanced football team, across the board. They're just really, really good. And certainly their offense has a lot to do with that. When you start with that offensive line and the quarterback and the running back there, that allows them to do a lot of things, not only in the running game, but in their passing game as well.
So 2 DNs. They're also first team all conference as well. They got a nose tackle. He's only played like 6 or 7 games so far. He's honorable mention this year, but he was second team all conference last year. And then they have another guy that was the second team all conference. So their whole D-line is all conference guys. So obviously it's a good D-line and they're good at what they do. I think the scheme benefits what they do and helps them out with that.
This will be one of the most anticipated D2 football games in the country this year. Grand Valley State is currently ranked number 2 in the country. The Gorillas are number 5. Our sports director, John Dales, will be covering the game in Michigan. Check out his Facebook, Dales KOAM, and his Twitter, John Dales _ for coverage all weekend. Now to college basketball. Pitt State women's hoops plays its second game in as many days over in Arkadelphia. Tuesday evening, the Gorillas improved to 4-0 with a 26-point victory over Ouachita Baptist. And yesterday afternoon, PSU women's basketball wins again, this time 95-72 over Henderson State. Corinna Gerber leads the way with a double-double, 20 points and 12 rebounds. Sydney Holmes and Grace Pyle each score 15 points apiece. Gorillas are now 5-0, which is their best start to a season since 2017. PSU's next game is on the road at Missouri Western next Thursday. Now across state lines to Missouri Southern basketball, the Lions women's hoops team won its first 2 games this season, taking down Harding in a close one, then blowing out Henderson State. But the Lions get the first loss of the year yesterday, falling to the number 12 team in the country, Southern Nazarene, 73-52 on the road. Nobody on Southern scores double-figure points. Mosto doesn't get much of a break. It has Thanksgiving off today before playing a couple of Texas schools, Angelo State and Midwestern State, this weekend. Meanwhile, Missouri Southern men's basketball loses well, falling to Drury 76-70. Darius Dawson, Cam Williams, and Avery Taggart account for 53 of the Lions' 70 points. Southern is now 2-3 on the season, and just like the women's team, the men don't get much of a break either. MSSU back in Joplin to face Brockhurst this coming Saturday at 3 o'clock. Well, still to come, cold weather is here, and so are the viruses. We'll see how one state is already a hot spot for the flu. Plus, I know everybody's curious about this weekend. You want to know what's happening on Black Friday as well? Well, we've got a complete look at that forecast when the KOAM Morning News returns.
It's out with Thanksgiving and in with Thanksgetting during the 4-day Black Friday Super Sale at Furniture Row. Right now, the more you buy, the more you save.
Go to our website to find out how you can save thousands on your new home at Creekside in Carthage.
Girard Medical Center Express Care, open 9 to 5 on Thanksgiving and this weekend.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News. It is now 5:17 on this Thursday, Thanksgiving morning. Happy Thanksgiving to all of you. I know everyone is very interested in what's going to happen this weekend, and honestly, so am I, because as we've discussed, the computer models keep changing. One thing to remind folks at home is all it takes is the freezing line shifting no more than a mile one direction or the other, completely throws off what's expected. So that's why I personally hate tracking winter weather, because that shift can happen the day of the event. And if it does, everything we're expecting is suddenly thrown into chaos because that freezing line shifted just a little bit one direction or the other. This has already changed, of course, several times since last night. It will change more, but we're going to go over what some of the long-range expectations are as we head into the weekend. Here's what we're looking at. By Saturday afternoon, we start to see some light showers entering our area, maybe a light wintry mix in our far northwestern counties. Now, as we go through Saturday into the evening, more showers, still a light wintry mix, say up around the Yates Center area, points northwest, and that will continue. Now, if the freezing line holds its position off to the northwest, then most of us will simply get some light, cold showers out there, and our far northwestern counties could get a light wintry mix with maybe some light snow in there as well. Now, as you saw quickly this moved, the other possibility is as we head into Sunday morning, we get enough of a cool down overnight that we see a brief transition to light snow for most of the area. Now, I want to reemphasize too, we're not anticipating a blizzard or anything like that. Don't panic. Don't stock up on all the eggs and milk and bread and stuff. But it's enough that if you're traveling, it could make travel a little more hazardous for you this weekend. So that's what is expected at this point. What we're thinking in the snow potential is we've got this light snow possibility, light wet snow accumulations, mainly again in our northern and northwestern counties across the area. I want to show you another computer model's take on what it thinks it's going to do with snow. And for the record, this has already changed since I first ran it this morning as well. But again, this would be a wet snow, and we're talking maybe a couple of inches, if that. And there's going to be a lot of changes between now and this weekend. One thing I do want to alert you to is just outside of our viewing area into southern and southwestern Kansas, there's a winter storm watch that runs until midnight Sunday. So if you're traveling to see friends out west, you definitely just want to keep that in mind, because out west, they're really looking at a much better opportunity for some significant snowfall out there. So something to keep in mind if you're traveling out west. As for us, just keep in mind the roads could be fairly slick on your drive back home. Right now, we're sitting at 34 in Joplin, a light south breeze making it feel like 27. We got 35 in Pittsburgh, 27 in Parsons, 28 in the Otishe, freezing in Iola, and 27 down in Miami. Our morning, sunny skies. We're going to go right around 50 by late morning, with highs today right around average into the upper 50s, and we'll have the increasing clouds as we go later through the day and into the evening, going mostly cloudy overnight and falling back into the low 30s and out there. So not too bad, but chilly. Much colder though for our Friday. If you're shopping, mid 40s out there. We'll go upper 40s on Saturday, mid 40s on Sunday. Again, watching that system. And as we head into next week, we're cool. We're not where we should be, but we've at least got some sunny skies out there to kick off the next work week. That's a quick check of your forecast. We're back with Health Watch right after this.
High Winds Casino is locked and loaded. You could win guns and
4th Street in Pittsburgh, Kansas.
Topping Health Watch this morning, a new study has found long-term use of ADHD medications can be a rise for the risk of cardiovascular disease. Researchers in Sweden followed the medical records of thousands of individuals with attention deficit hyperactivity disorder for a number of years. They found overall heart disease risk was 23% higher for people who used ADHD medication for more than 5 years compared to those who didn't. Previous research had similar findings. Doctors commonly prescribe stimulants to treat ADHD, which are known to elevate blood pressure, making the heart work harder. Experts say patients should be aware of risks, but many people say the benefits outweigh the risk. Cold and flu season is ramping up, and of course, respiratory viruses risks are also including COVID-19. And health officials say COVID vaccination rates are lower than they like to see. According to the CDC data, through mid-November, roughly 15% of adults and 5% of children have gotten the latest COVID-19 vaccine. COVID-19 hospitalizations are on the rise, with more than 16,000 new admissions during the week ending November 11th. Hospitalization rates are lower than they were this time last year, but nearly 3 times higher than they were during the summer's record low. Flu and RSV levels are also on the rise, but respiratory viruses hospitalizations this season has mostly been COVID-19. The weather is getting colder, and with lower temperatures, hospital trips and flu cases are on the rise. Jordan Bowen has more.
This latest map from the CDC has Florida in dark orange, showing high levels of hospital visits for respiratory illnesses as of November 11th.
We do seem to be a kind of a hot spot, and that's pretty typical of what we'll generally see. It just has a lot to do with socialization and how much contact people are having with each other.
So far this fall, the CDC estimates there's been at least 780,000 flu cases. Of those, there's been at least 8,000 hospitalizations and 490 flu-related deaths, including at least 1 child. This flu season, RSV is also a concern. Meanwhile, COVID cases seem to be slowing down, according to USF professor Dr. Thomas Unash.
The numbers are really starting to increase, at least doubling over the last 4 weeks or so. Here in the state of Florida. On the other hand, COVID seems to be just puttering along. So we may be in a situation this year where we'll mostly see, RSV and influenza as a problem and not so much COVID.
According to the CDC, it's not yet clear how effective the current flu vaccines are, but Dr. Unash says it's one of the best ways to minimize the chances of being hospitalized. The latest data shows about 35% of adults and 33% of children in the U.S. have been vaccinated against the flu virus. If you're traveling this Thanksgiving, Dr. Unash encourages people to take steps to protect themselves.
I will wear masks and I carry hand sanitizer around and try and keep my hands away from my face and do the best I can. And that's basically the best thing that you can do. Wash your hands a lot and try not to breathe other people's air as much as possible.
That's a look at some of today's top health stories. You're watching the KOAM Morning News.
And we are keeping an eye on a relatively pleasant Thanksgiving out there. We'll have another look at that forecast coming up.
Well, they have. Buy one large single topping pizza, get the second 50% off. Only at Casey's.
Right now at 5:30, Black Friday is tomorrow, and we'll hear how one store is getting ahead of the start on holiday shopping.
And we've got ourselves a relatively pleasant Thanksgiving out there, although it's a little chilly this morning. We'll take a look at that Turkey Day forecast coming up.
Plus, an explosion at the New York and Canadian border have officials on alert.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning, 4 states, and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 5:29. I'm Amber Jenkins.
I'm Chris Warner. Happy Thanksgiving to all of you out there. Happy Thanksgiving to you, Amber. Great to have you here on Turkey Day. Happy Thanksgiving to our control room folks, because again, without our production team back there, we would not be on the air. They're the ones, they have to hit the buttons that put us on the air. If they didn't hit those buttons, we wouldn't be here to tell you Happy Thanksgiving. We want to take a quick moment. I want to remind folks, because of the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade that's airing on CBS this morning, the CBS Morning News is going to start at 6 a.m., which means our show ends here, I'm looking at the wrong side, here in about 30 minutes. Because of that, though, birthdays and anniversaries are going to be toward the end of this show. So you want to stay with us now for those birthdays and anniversaries. They're going to be a little earlier than usual. However, what's not too early is I've got nothing. We've got clear skies from our camera on the Cornell Complex, downtown Joplin, looking great out there, and also looking pretty good from the Modoc Camera 20th and Rangeline in Joplin. Temperatures this morning, though, a bit chilly. 34 in Joplin, 33 in Pittsburgh, so definitely a cold start out there. However, we've got a relatively normal day in terms of at least temperatures. Sunny skies for most of the day. The clouds won't really begin to increase until late this afternoon and after the sun goes down. So between now and then, highs today, upper 50s, maybe even a couple of lower 60s out there. We're going to take another full look at your forecast. We're going to talk about what we're expecting this weekend and what you can expect on Black Friday here in just a few more minutes. Amber?
Thank you, Chris. And not surprised, but Walmart has already prepared for the potential rush of shoppers by doubling down on Black Friday. The retailer plans to offer 2 Black Friday events and wrap up the months with some Cyber Monday savings. Although many people will associate the event with some big savings, one employee in Pittsburgh wants people to know safety is the store's first concern.
Safety is number one. We have to focus on that safety, and especially today. It's a very busy day in the store, day before Thanksgiving. A lot of customers are out getting their last minute stuff. You have to make sure that we are, like I said, it's almost like a puzzle. You're moving things around, but you have to do it strategically.
Walmart Plus members get 3 hours head start on Black Friday deals. Some changes coming to the Kansas license plates. Kansas Governor Laura Kelly announced the new design today. The state plans to phase out the old embossed standard plates because of safety concerns. Head on over to KOAMnewsnow.com/news and let us know if you like the new design. The design pays tribute to the state's motto across the bottom of the plate. New York's governor says there was no indication of a terrorist attack in the Thanksgiving Eve vehicle crash and explosion that killed 2 people at a checkpoint on the American side of the U.S.-Canadian bridge in Niagara Falls, New York. Michael George has more.
Dramatic video shows the vehicle speeding along the roadway and launching into the air before landing and exploding on the U.S. side of the border with Canada. Authorities say the 2 people inside the car died in the incident that took place on the busiest travel day of the year.
At this time, there is no indication of a terrorist attack, but
I state the caveat that the investigation is ongoing.
A preliminary federal law enforcement assessment obtained by CBS News says the vehicle hit a curb or embankment, crashed through a fence, and landed in a secondary inspection area, then caught fire and exploded. The incident, the day before Thanksgiving, initially raised security concerns on both sides of the border.
The world is watching to find out what happened here. And again, at a time when there's such high anxiety, stress levels are already high, and we've been on heightened alert since October 7th.
Disclosing few details, New York Governor Kathy Hochul said the driver was from Western New York.
And then it looked like he hit the fence, and this fire started, and then all of a sudden he went up in the air, and then it was a ball of fire like 30, 40 feet high. I've never seen anything like it.
A Border Patrol officer was injured, but officials say he was largely protected by a security booth. The Rainbow Bridge will remain closed for now as law enforcement continues to investigate. Michael George, CBS News, New York.
The White House said the president was closely following developments, and Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau said officials were taking this extraordinary seriously. That's a look at some of our top news stories coming up this half hour on the KOAM Morning News. We will see how one school is using Thanksgiving holiday as a teaching moment for students. Plus, U.S. senators write letters to the president asking to persuade Israel to open the border for humanitarian aid for Gaza. We'll have the latest. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. More real news. We'll be right back.
Sachs and Associates, proud partner of Travis Kelce and his foundation, 87 and running.
U.S. Topping World Watch. A U.S. warship shot down attack drones over the Red Sea Thursday morning. According to the United States Central Command, the USS Thomas Hunter fired a multiple one-way attack drones launched on Yemen. The drones were reportedly shot down while on patrol. Officials say there was no damage to the ship or injuries sustained by the crew. This comes as tensions have increased in the Red Sea region since the start of the Israel-Hamas war, with Yemen's Iran-backed rebels claiming to have fired ballistic missiles and drones towards Israel. On Sunday, the Galaxy Leader cargo ship was hijacked in the Red Sea with about 25 crew members on board. The deal reached between Israel and Hamas to release at least 50 hostages held in Gaza has been delayed. The previous expectations were for releases to begin as early as Thursday, but none of the hostages will be freed before Friday. The deal paused fighting was also delayed until Friday, according to Israeli officials. Following the successful release of women and children hostages held by Hamas, the focus would then turn getting elderly men, Israeli soldiers, and the remains of those killed out of Gaza. No word yet on when negotiations will begin for the next group to be released, but the White House says there are 10 unaccounted for Americans they believe are hostages. More than a dozen Democratic senators are asking President Biden to urge Israel to open its border to let in humanitarian aid for Palestinians in Gaza. The 13 senators, including Mike Kenney and Elizabeth Warren, sent a letter to the president Monday. They say they are worried about the increased suffering in Gaza. It's not only unbearable for the Palestinians, but also negatively affects the security of Israelis. The letter comes on the heels of the Biden administration warning Israel that eroding support will have dire consequences for the country's fight against Hamas. The senators also are asking the president to define the role of the country will play in encouraging a peaceful resolution and rebuilding. So far, no word yet from the White House on the letter. People in Iceland are on edge as officials say there's a high probability of a volcanic eruption any day now. The looming eruption has forced evacuations, and authorities say it's an ongoing process to allow some residents to temporarily return to their homes to gather some of their belongings. Fred Pelican has the details.
Taking off straight to the emergency zone. We're on a mission with Iceland's Coast Guard to the already affected area by what could soon be a massive volcanic eruption.
You can see how everything here is on knife's edge, but of course, the authorities are doing everything they can to save the town and save the infrastructure.
The town is called Grindavik. Massive cracks in the roads show the places where pressure from an underground magma stream has already burst through the Earth's crust. The ground now uneven, as the crew says they've been observing the rift widening in the past days.
We see differences between days. Sometimes we see the crack a little bit wider.
Grindavik was evacuated and could soon be completely destroyed by hot lava, authorities fear.
From up here, you can already see just how extensive the damage already is to the town of Grindavik, and that crack that you see runs all the way to the ocean.
Iceland is in an area of massive volcanic activity. While this part of the country had been dormant for around 800 years, scientists say, in the past 2 years, volcanic activity has come back to life with several major eruptions. We fly over the most recent one, past the mouth of the volcano and over seemingly endless lava fields still steaming hot even months after the actual eruption ended. On the ground, crews are working round the clock to try and build a berm to protect this geothermal power plant. And we also see the world-famous Blue Lagoon hot springs, normally a major tourist attraction, now closed down and also evacuated. The economic toll already immense.
What do you think it means for the people there?
I can't even imagine, losing their houses and maybe their, work, their whole life. It's crazy.
Iceland's government says a major eruption here remains highly likely, and it could happen in a matter of days. Iceland's Coast Guard aviators say they are on alert all the time.
In case of the volcano starts, then we will fly over the area to help to evacuate the people.
That's a look at some of your biggest headlines from around the world. We'll be right back.
Kansas Crossing Casino brings you the ultimate.
Our ASC certified mechanics are trained to accurately diagnose automotive issues correctly the first time. ProLoop Tire and Auto Center, locally owned and operated since 2001.
Time for some Thursday Thanksgiving birthdays here in the 4 states, and we're going to begin with Coit Whitley in Chanute, celebrating birthday number 9. It says happy birthday for mom and brothers Wyatt, Braxton, and Trevor.
And Tegan DePratt is celebrating 12 years in Scammon, Kansas.
And over in Neosho, Brandy Akey celebrating birthday number 41. So this is actually our traffic assistant, Debbie Haynes' daughter. Happy birthday, Brandy.
Oh, and Todd and Ryan Lanson is celebrating 16 years together in Columbus, Kansas.
And our very own Daniel Camp celebrating a birthday. He's our operations manager. I've worked with him when he was a photographer. Great guy most of the time. I'm just kidding, Daniel. Happy birthday to you.
And Diane Hill is celebrating in Columbus, Kansas.
And Donica Haggerty is celebrating in Frontenac. A very happy birthday and anniversary to everyone on this list. And of course, we like celebrating with you. Amber, what do they need to do to celebrate with us?
They can just send their birthdays along with a photo to the email birthdays@koamnewsnow.com.
And of course, don't forget to include a little note. We like passing along those special messages to your loved ones as well. All right. We got a lot of weather to talk about. We got a lot of things to talk about. In fact, the music's really excited about the weather we have to talk about right now. Yeah, that's right. All right. So let's... Okay. Well, the music's not stopping, but that's okay. Think of this like the Weather Channel. We've got rain showers Saturday evening starting to roll into the area. Out in Kansas, they're expecting a lot more snow across the area, and so that's where the best snowfall is going to be. That's where the most snowfall is going to be. As for us, light wintry mix, some light snow looking possible. Now again, this has changed 3 times since just last night. However, you can see our northwestern counties initially getting in on a light wintry mix and perhaps some light snow out there. And as we head into Sunday morning, as temperatures fall and the freezing line continues to move, we do get an opportunity for a wintry mix and some light snow across a wider portion of the area, but it looks to be relatively brief. And I want to remind folks, you don't need to go rush the stores first thing tomorrow for bread and eggs, or milk, bread and milk. We're not anticipating several inches of snow or blizzards or anything like that. We're just advising you that if you're traveling, you're coming home this weekend, be prepared for some slippery roadways. So what we're really looking at is this zone here right now is the better opportunity for some light, wet snow accumulations. Again, not much. This computer model, which will also change a dozen times between now and Saturday, honestly, this is what it's thinking in terms of snowfall. Now, again, some of it's going to be a wet snowfall. Also, we're going to be relatively mild for a good portion of the event ahead of it and even after it, back into the 40s. So don't panic by any means, but just be prepared for some slick spots. If you are traveling out west, and maybe you're already out there and you're watching us on the KOAM Plus app, be aware there are winter storm watches for a good portion of southwestern and into central Kansas. So if you're coming back home this weekend, be prepared for that, where the heavier snow is expected. Could see a few inches of snow out there, upwards of 4, maybe even 6 inches of snow off to our west. As for us, though, not bad. 34 right now in Joplin. South breeze at 8, making it feel like it is 27. Temperatures around the region: 32 Iola, 34 Fort Scott, 33 Pittsburgh, 28 Neodesha, 27 Parsons, Miami, and 32 in Neosho. We're going to have sunny skies to get our morning started, a bit of a chilly start, and then about 50 by 11. And as we head into the afternoon, highs today right around average, upper 50s, maybe even some low 60s out there. And then we'll start to see partly cloudy skies as clouds start to increase late afternoon into the evening and overnight hours. We'll start to go mostly cloudy out there, and we'll see lows back into the low to mid 30s. As for our Black Friday, if you're shopping tomorrow, this is what we're looking at. If you're going to be up early, bundle up. 35 at 6 a.m. It is going to be cold. It's going to be cloudy through the day. It's also going to be breezy. We're looking at winds gusting upwards of 25, so be prepared for that. Noon, only up to 37, and by 4, we're at 39. We're looking at highs tomorrow into the low 40s across the area, so do be prepared for that. If for any reason, maybe you really truly are a last-minute traveler, not seeing at this point any significant weather-related delays at any of the major airports across the country. And of course, we're looking good, but you got to watch out for some of that snow, especially out in the Mountain West and into Utah. Otherwise, looking good across the Southwest. Some rain down in southern Texas. That front has pushed out of the east, and so looking good along the East Coast, but chilly in some locations. And if you're traveling regionally, this cold front, that's what's bringing us the chilly temperatures heading into tomorrow and the cloud cover. Back behind it, 40s to the north, and ahead of it, upper 50s, and again, even some low 60s out there. So again, this weekend, temperature's not bad, but still watching that system. We head into next week. It's sunny, but it's a bit chilly, and our temperatures do try to get back to normal by the end of next week with some shower chances by Friday and Saturday. That's a quick look at your forecast. We'll be back with more right after this.
Car crash? Call Johnson, Voorhees, and Martucci.
Served with duty, honor, and valor for his country. We are proud to salute Donald Howard, a 4-state hero.
Thanksgiving is not the only time to gather and eat delicious dinner, but it's also an opportunity to learn for several autistic students from a school in New Jersey. Fox Chris Cornell has more.
Mashed potato. However many plates you feel comfortable carrying.
So this is a kid. I need turkey. And gravy.
Just keep them rolling, guys.
An early Thanksgiving meal has become somewhat of a yearly tradition at Durand School in Woodbury, New Jersey.
A turkey is stuffing.
So our students here, we serve our children from 5 to 21 with autism or developmentally delayed.
For students and staff, it's a chance to connect, say thanks, and even write down what they're thankful for over a big turkey dinner.
We don't always get time to sit down together to talk and have just a normal conversation.
But for these students, the turkey, the gravy, and all the fixins is more than just a Thanksgiving feast. It's preparing them for what many of us take for granted. You see, the meal is like a classroom in itself.
Tastes pretty good. I'm gonna go eat it.
Teachers are using the Thanksgiving message to emphasize life skills like good manners and hygiene.
A lot of our students have sensory aversion, so they don't like the food that might be at Thanksgiving. They have a hard time sitting down at the table.
We're working on paced feeding, that we're not stuffing, that we're not eating things off of other people's plates.
The event helps these neurodiverse students prepare for a Thanksgiving dinner at home with their families. And yes, even those uncomfortable conversations Hayden has already had.
I don't like turkey because it's disgusting. But not all people are a huge fan of turkey.
If they can do it here, then they can do it at home with their families. And the families can take the time to enjoy each other instead of trying to teach their child how to engage in an appropriate meal.
And teachers say they enjoy the meal just as much as the students they serve.
Come together and contribute to this phenomenal feast for our staff and our students to enjoy together.
When you're right, you're thankful for food, okay.
That is pretty awesome. I have a brother that's on the spectrum, and Thanksgiving and gatherings can be pretty, you got to get creative sometimes, especially with the sounds, and maybe not like some certain foods, but we make do for him. Anything for family. Well, that's all in. We'll be right back after this.
Between the wildlife, Wilder Drive.
Taylors.
Thank you for helping the Salvation Army make a difference this Christmas.
Merry Christmas from the Salvation Army.
Some good news for kids of all ages as Santa made his way down from the North Pole. The Jolly Old Soul has set up shop in the center court of Joplin's North Park Mall to greet the kids and take down their holiday requests. And so, four-legged members of the family aren't left out. Pet photos with Santa are available all day on Mondays during Santa's visit.
Well, we've got ourselves a nice Thanksgiving, highs upper 50s, maybe even some low 60s. We'll have clouds start to gradually increase by late afternoon, and we'll start to go mostly cloudy through the evening and overnight. Lows back into the low 30s. Could see some wind gusts out there upwards of, say, about 25 miles an hour. Breezy and cold tomorrow once a cold front pushes through. We're looking at only low to mid 40s out there for Black Friday shopping. Keeping an eye on that system this weekend. Some light rain, maybe a light wintry mix. No major accumulations expected, but could make the roadways a little bit on the slick side, so be aware of that. And then we're cold to kick off next week, but we have sunshine, so we go into the upper 40s and low 50s.
Alrighty, and coming up today at noon, we're making Gobble It Up turkey pot pie in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen.
I really don't know where he gets those names from. I really don't.
Good, though.
It really does. Good. I mean, and the thing is it is a fact. You're going to gobble it up.
I mean, hey.
If you like it, I guess.
Gobble, gobble.
Supposedly, you will. Well, and of course, your morning news is going to continue with CBS Mornings. And of course, they're starting early this morning because of the Macy's Day Thanksgiving Parade that's going to kick off a little later. So that's why we're just about done here.
Or you can switch on over with us on Fox 14 at 7 a.m. where your only local morning news continues.
So make sure you do that as well. If you'd like a little more local news, don't worry about that. And because of the parade, we're going to tell you how the city of New York is preparing for that Thanksgiving Day parade, but you'll only see that if you make the switch with us at 7 a.m. over to Fox 14. So you have an opportunity to, make up a little bit of the Thanksgiving food, get ready, you have an hour break, and then you can come back and join us again. So, well, we want to thank you so much for spending part of your Thanksgiving Day with us. We will see you back here tomorrow morning at 5 a.m.
And we'll see you here today at noon.
6 to 10 p.m. Play for your chance to win $50,000 cash.
Toyotathon is on. Now's the time to get an exciting new Toyota. Like Camry Hybrid, RAV4, Tundra, and more. How did you... Magic.
Toyotathon is on. Get $1,000